For this project, you will need the following materials and tools. 4 pieces of 12-volt COB LED strip, each from 30 to 35 centimeters long. The color and width are up to you. In our case, we used red COB LED strips with a width of 5 millimeters. Transparent heat shrink tubing to waterproof the LED strips. The diameter of the tubing should be slightly larger than the width of the LED strip. In our case, we used 10 millimeters tubing. Additional smaller heat shrink tubing to insulate the soldered joints. Soldering equipment, soldering iron, solder, and soldering paste. 2 2-wire cables 20-30 centimeters in length each. A piece of soft plastic, approximately 40x 10 centimeters, to create a base for the LED strips. We used a semi-transparent plastic folder, which can be found in any office supply store. A set of screwdrivers, Allen and Phillips, heat gun, wire stripper, scissors, and pen. Let's start by preparing the LED strips. Locate the cut mark on the strip and trim the strip along that line. Next, peel back a section of the protective cover on the opposite side of the LED strip to expose the soldering pads. Apply a small amount of solder paste onto the exposed pads of the LED strip. Next, tin the exposed pads. Then, take a wire, strip the insulation from its ends, apply soldering paste, and tin. Repeat the same process for another wire. These wires will later be used to connect the LED strips together. Place 2 LED strips side by side in parallel, ensuring that pads of the same polarity are aligned. Now, solder the aligned pads together. Next, take the wire you tinned earlier and trim the exposed end. This trimmed piece will be used to connect the remaining pads of the LED strips to each other. Bend the trimmed wire piece. Position each end onto the corresponding pads of the LED strips and solder them in place. Next, strip the outer insulation from the cables. Then, strip the ends of the 2 inner wires, apply soldering paste, and tin them. Solder the tinned wires to the corresponding pads on the pair of LED strips, ensuring correct polarity. Make sure to solder the red wire to the positive pad and the black wire to the negative pad. Once soldering is complete, slide a piece of heat shrink tubing so that half covers the LED strips and the other half covers the cable. Carefully shrink the tubing using a heat gun or a lighter. Now, take the transparent heat shrink tubing and cut it to a length equal to the LED strip plus an extra 5-6 centimeters. This additional length will cover part of the cable and help waterproof the end of the LED strip. Insert the LED strip into the heat shrink tubing. If your heat shrink tubing is significantly wider than the cable, as in our case, apply a small amount of hot glue before shrinking to eliminate any gaps between the tubing and the cable. Then, use a heat gun to shrink the tubing. Shrink about 95% of the tubing, then apply a small amount of hot glue inside the remaining 5% to fully waterproof the LED strip. Once the glue is in place, continue shrinking the rest of the tubing. Allow both the heat shrink tubing and the hot glue inside to cool for about 30 seconds. Then trim any excess tubing near the end of the LED strip, leaving a 1-2 mm margin. It's time to disassemble the scooter. Unscrew the 11 bolts securing the battery compartment cover to the scooter's frame, and then remove the cover. Next, unscrew the 4 screws holding the front indicator housings to the frame. Then, remove both housings along with the side panels. Let's create a base for the LED strips. Take a soft plastic sheet, in our case we used a plastic folder, place the scooter's side cover on it, and trace its outline with a pen. Once done, carefully cut along the traced lines. The base is ready. The next step is attaching the LED strips. To do this, first apply double-sided adhesive tape to the back of LED strips. Next, peel off the protective layer from the double-sided tape and firmly attach the LED strips to the bases. Done. Now, let's install our custom bases with the attached LED strips onto the scooter. Route the LED strip cables into the scooter's battery compartment through the same holes in the rubber covers that the indicator cables use. To connect our custom LED strips to the scooter's ambient lighting system, first locate one of the cables supplying power to scooter's ambient lights. Then, cut both wires in that cable, strip the insulation from all wire ends and tin them with solder. Now solder the wires from the LED strips together, matching the correct polarity. Then do the same with the scooter's wires that were cut earlier. The next step is to solder the LED strip wires to the scooter's wires. Before soldering, slide a small piece of heat shrink tubing onto each wire, and also place one larger piece of heat shrink tubing over the cable. Now solder the wires together, making sure the polarity matches. Finally, use a heat gun to shrink all the heat shrink tubing and properly insulate the connections. Check that everything is working correctly. Now reassemble the scooter. Firstly, install and fix with the screws front indicator housings. Then place the battery cover back in position, making sure to start from the rear end and securely fasten it with the 11 bolts. Since the custom bases for the LED strips are thinner than the scooter's side panels, it is recommended to apply a small amount of hot glue to the parts of the bases that border the front and rear indicator housings for additional waterproofing. And it's ready!